Greetings everyone and welcome to Kadic Reviews. Well, I promised it to you in our last video, and here it is. Ubisoft's realistic tactical fighting game for Honor. This game was announced nearly 2 years ago at E3, and now all the posturing is done. So, is it good? Well, kinda. And here's why. First off, if you're playing this game for the single player, don't. The single player is a glorified tutorial mode with a loose story at best, and kinda forced replayability for unlocks and achievements. But it's nothing to really worry about. You see, after a millennium of war, 3 classes, the samurai, Vikings, and the knights, are still fighting each other. And a general, mainly of the knights, called Napoleon, wants to see and still test the human race whether they're tough enough to survive. There's a lot of vagueness in the story mode, and you don't really get a lot of answers, but what you do get is experience with all three of the game's factions, divided into 4 subsections per faction. You'll be given simple scenario-like matches to go do, breakables to get, and observations that will give you some light story material. It's slightly better than Rainbow Six or the original Titanfall, but not worth any bit of the price. Where the game begins, however, is in the multiplayer sections. And the multiplayer is bolstered by some of the most satisfying yet easy to learn, difficult to master combat that any fighting game has ever procured. Using the right analog stick, you aim your attacks or defend against others in a 3-directional system: left, right, and up. Using the right bumper or right trigger, you attack. Right bumper for lights, right trigger for attacks. Using dodges with A or square if you're playing on A or X if you're playing on PS4, and guard breaks and throws. You can do many things to attack your enemy, including using your environment to drop your opponents off ledges or into spikes or other environmental hazards. But, however, like a fighting game, the combat system is surprisingly deep, with versatile combos and different maneuvers that you can learn while doing against other players or against bots in a practice mode hidden in the menus, or against AI for competitive steel. Every class is different, and there are 12 of them. From long-speared characters like the Nebusian Valkyrie to straight-up quick attackers like the Assassin or Berserker. There's a class that will fit you, because all classes play differently. There is a major gain in learning how all 12 classes work, not only as you play against them, but learn how to break them when other players are using them. The learning curve for Honor is steep. It's one of the steepest in fighting games. But if you take the time to learn it and gain victory after victory, it is satisfying and fulfilling, especially when you take that advanced knowledge and you beat other veteran players. Using the revenge mode in multi-man situations can give you an edge, but multi-man situations usually end badly for you, seeing that you can't block two enemies at once, unless of course you are very quick triggered. The executions are brutal and satisfying and worth the added effort, but understanding your stamina and fatigue before trying to go for these are important, as the screen will turn gray as your stamina lowers. In terms of multiplayer offerings, For Honor is divided into 4 modes, the best of these being the one-on-one and 2v2 duels. The one-on-one being the best expression of the game's excellent combat system. In one-on-one duels, it's you against another player, heads up, best of 5. As a show of mental and physical chess play plays out on the many maps. Ledges and quick dodges become essential to survival, and there are no revives. The best way to show your experience in the game, and also to truly test yourself. 2-on-2 brawls can quickly become handicap matches, but share the same no gear effect. When the gear is added is in Dominion and Elimination modes, both of these being 4v4 kills. Dominion being closer to Call of Duty's domination mode, you're forced to take multiple spots during combat and break down your opponent slowly but surely until they break. Similarly, there are minions in Dominion mode, while the skirmish mode takes out the minions and instead focuses on just the enemy generals alone. But the negative in both of those is the gear sets. As you level up your character, you'll gain steel, able to recruit other characters to upgrade or to buy gear packs, circa Ultimate Team for Madden. But what you get in those gear packs is dependent on your level and reputation level. The rarer gear is given out to warriors with higher reputation, which forces you to play the game for much longer than maybe you might want to do. But the high level gear is absolutely powerful. But if you don't feel like doing that, you can always use real world money to pay for it. And that's the problem. It instills a play to win artistry into the modes. If you're not too much a fan of that, it practically splits the game in half. But there's also a pseudo meta game between the 3 factions going on. Every map is determined by which of the factions dominates it. By using your war assets after matches, you can tilt it in your faction's favor for end of the week or end of the season rewards in the form of premium keys to get rare gear. But you also have daily orders and orders that you can attend to also try to get steel or added experience. It matters whether you want to do that or not, or focus on your character's continued progression. The choice is yours. Either way, the limitations are numerous, which is sadly a negative. Plus, a non-gear set Dominion or Elimination mode could spice things up and help those modes grow in fandom over time. As of this review, that is not possible now. But that's not the biggest problem with the game, sadly. the biggest problem I'll get to right now. The biggest problem with War Honor is the peer-to-peer servers. These peer-to-peer servers frequently lag or disconnect, or even through the matchmaking system, fail to matchmake you properly in a match situation, which can be extremely problematic, especially when you're trying to get those player versus player daily rewards, or orders that require player versus player matches to achieve. This can cause a lot of hours of frustration just getting into a match. And, of course, if a player disconnects from a game post-migration, a constant problem of Call of Duty's mini-games can also become a problem in the short term as well, or completely disconnecting you from the game, disallowing any equipment that you may have earned over the course of a match. Likewise, not every player will play honorably, so be careful upon that in multiplayer games. Hopefully, these things can be updated with time and the servers fixed over time. For this reason, we'll be reviewing the game again in 6 months' time to see where the game stands right now. Because after all, as of today, the game's only in week 3. So, time will tell if these server issues are resolved. All in all, War Honor's combat is the most satisfying of any modern game, and it's worth the play. But the server problems, or lack of modes, or the play-to-win microtransactions might take you out of the game entirely. That's why we at Kadic Reviews give War Honor an 8 out of 10 for now. We'll see in 6 months whether that holds up.